Can you give us an idea of how significant this could be, not only for Boeing, but really for its suppliers as well?
I think it's going to be very significant for suppliers, for the U.S. economy. Boeing's second largest commercial aerospace manufacturer in the world. Billions and billions of dollars flow through their plants every month. And again, it's going to have a large ripple effect on all their suppliers. It's going to have a big effect on the U.S. economy.
It also, I would imagine, means that what had been a coup for the White House, getting China to agree to a lot more industrial purchases from the U.S. means that Boeing will not partake in that, because we don't know the details of what China has agreed to purchase, but presumably it would have included Boeing airplanes.
Yeah, I mean, I guess on that front, though, I'd say that the backlog for airplanes right now is pretty large. For the most popular airplanes, the 737 MAX, 787, you have to wait 5 or 6 years anyways to get your airplane. So I think China could place orders now and still get an airplane within a couple months of where they thought they would get it. We have noticed, though, that China hasn't ordered key airplanes like the 787 in a while, and that's a bit of a drag on Boeing orders this year.
So when we look at this, George, this situation, I mean, one of the sort of reasons why Boeing stock hadn't cratered was this idea that essentially it's part of this duopoly with Airbus, and that not a lot of the airlines that currently rely on Boeings were really going to switch over to Airbus. Is there any real tangible risk that we would see a significant number of airlines switch their orders from Boeing 737 MAX planes to whatever the equivalent Airbus plane is?
So I think that backlog I just talked to you about, the 6-year backlog for the 737 MAX, it's even larger for the Airbus A320, I think close to 7 years. Look, I don't think that means you'd have to wait 7 years to get an A320, but I think it means you'd have to wait 4 years. I think that effectively means it's really, really, really hard to switch. There isn't enough capacity to make commercial airliners in the world for one or the other to take all the market share. So I do think that keeps this from happening.
All right, that's a couple years down the road. In the near term, we know that Boeing is compensating customers for the grounding of the 737 MAX, and it's set aside money to cover this. Does Boeing face any kind of cash crunch now that we're not going to see the 737 MAX return to the skies anytime soon?
Well, so I think it does. The fact that it's been delayed does definitely increase the payments they're ultimately going to have to make to their customers. But in the near term, pausing 737 production is going to save Boeing, we think, about $1.5 billion a month. And we think that's the largest driver for why they paused right now, because, again, they're building airplanes. They're spending about $1.5 billion of their money per month parking them. They're having probably difficulty finding places to park them now. And I think you could do that when you saw your way clear to when it was going to re-enter service. But I think they're a little unsure about exactly when the FAA is going to be finished reviewing the airplane, and I think that's brought them the concern.